There are multiple YouTube channels dedicated to analyzing and reviewing movies, including this one, but I'm going to take a moment to look at one of the best, and it's been especially nice to see its evolution over the years. Notably, over the last 2 years, Screen Junkies has managed to stand apart from the flurry of media discussion channels by avoiding clickbait and featuring a diverse group of panelists with a genuine knowledge of the film industry and how it works. Screen Junkies' most well-known series is Honest Trailers, which started off as a simple notion of lampooning film trailers and has now taken on a life of its own. When Honest Trailers started, it did the typical thing of making fun of movies, nitpicking inconsequential things, and occasionally raging at mistakes. They were amusing, but I think the best Honest Trailers have come out in the last 2 years. Anyone familiar with the channel's history will probably guess why, and I'll get to that later. The point of Honest Trailers isn't let's rip apart movies. Instead, it seeks to analyze the common themes explored in the work, similarities with other pieces of media, and try to understand how the final product came about. The Honest Trailers take into account the general reception of a movie and even work that into the writing and narration. The writers even use that element to point out certain aspects of the fandom. Most importantly, there's a genuine respect and understanding of the filmmaking process. The Marvel Honest Trailers seem to be the most popular, and for good reason. They point out the recurring formula of the films, and even though some are nicer than others, there's still a sense of admiration for how they pulled off this cinematic universe. The Honest Trailers also avoid repeating themselves by taking different approaches depending on the film. A Quiet Place, for instance, has the narrator speak in hushed tones and accompanied by a sign language interpreter. The Greatest Showman uses the catchy songs to comment on the film's historical inaccuracies. And Deadpool 2 has Ryan Reynolds come in to openly mock Honest Trailers. Of course, they've done more than just Honest Trailers. There's also the Screen Junkies show, often featuring a panel of film aficionados discussing a certain topic. It's not weekly like it used to be, but it's still nice whenever a new episode pops up. My favorite annual tradition is the Summer Movie Preview, in which the panelists try to predict what films will top the box office for the season. It's fun to go back and follow along to see how correct their predictions end up being. The host, Hal Rudnick, also presents a yearly retrospective, humorously commenting on the best and worst trends in filmdom over the previous 12 months. I've lamented a number of times before how I don't find the Razzie Awards to be the least bit amusing when they try to take down the year's releases. The way Screen Junkies does it is a lot funnier and more enjoyable. They also have a second channel, originally named Screen Junkies News, and recently changed to Fandom Entertainment after they were acquired by the wiki company Fandom. The main show is Screen Junkies Universe, which a panel gets together to talk about industry news and answer fan questions. It's often a really fun listen, and while technically a video series, it's also one of the most enjoyable podcasts I listen to. The panelists rotate daily, but usually consist of Honest Trailer writers Dan Murrell, Joe Starr, and Spencer Gilbert, as well as other insightful folks like Danielle Radford, Lon Harris, Ed Greer, and Editor-in-Chief Rolf Cornett. They often do a great job of tackling a certain news subject, properly addressing what excites them about this potential development, and even the odd tangents that can occur are a lot of fun. They each bring their own perspectives to the table, and there's just a genuinely good-hearted and friendly vibe whenever they get together. It's refreshing to see such cordial movie-related discussions, and with a surprising lack of cynicism most of the time. Another fantastic Fandom Entertainment show is Charting with Dan, with Murrell reporting on the weekly box office. I love looking at the numbers and how films perform each week, so it's a show right up my alley. Best of all, Murrell does it with little to no bias when talking about the movies. He just looks at the numbers and presents them to the audience in a way that's equal parts entertaining and informative. Dan Murrell is maybe the best box office analyst out there, and I look forward to the show every week. Murrell also reviews the new releases, and similarly does it in a way that's intelligent and trying to inform the audience as best as possible. Even when he does not like the film, he respects the filmmakers and the hard work and effort they put into the movie. He also acknowledges that there will be those who will warm up to the film more than he does, and that's okay. Going back to charting, I never see him root for a movie to flop, which is such a departure from how others look at the numbers. There have been other fandom entertainment shows introduced, like Smash It, where different people talk about the pros and cons of a certain franchise or actor's career, and Number Crunch, where Dan Murrell will look at a filmmaker's overall critical and audience reception, but they seem to have been short-lived. One thing I admire about Screen Junkies is how it tends to avoid clickbait titles. You know how you'll sometimes see videos with condescending titles like Toy Story is bad and here's why, meant to immediately anger a potential viewer? Screen Junkies does not pull that stunt. Anymore, anyway. For the most part, I've mostly commented on the channel's output over the last 2 years, and that's mostly because the content has steadily improved since former head Andy Signore was fired. When Signore was in charge, there was a focus on clickbait titles, rant-filled discussions on the show Movie Fights, and the honest trailers had a tendency of featuring sexist remarks. When he was fired in late 2017, Screen Junkies took a short hiatus and sought to move away from Signore's approach to content and his management style, creating a more welcoming environment that encouraged positivity, respecting one another, and being supportive. I think they've succeeded brilliantly in keeping with those goals. You especially notice the shift in the Emoji Movie on his trailer, one of the first videos made following the hiatus. Rather than being an anger-filled rant like most online looks tended to be, it was instead a calm and insightful analysis about what did not work about it, and even showing respect for the animators. And that sums up what I appreciate about Screen Junkies and their current state. Respect. There's respect for the filmmakers and television showrunners whose work they either praise or criticize, and there's respect for the audience watching their channel. And that's why I stay subscribed and keep coming back to them. Thank you, Screen Junkies.